So we'll get going a little early today, which is great. We have a lot of announcements. So as people continue to come in, we'll get things kicked off. My name is John McGovern. I am one of the community leaders here with 1 Million Cups. So I am not affiliated with the Kauffman Foundation. Neither is George Brooks or Mike Craig, but we are having a blast helping organize and keep this thing going for everybody. So show of hands, who's new this week to 1 Million Cups? Still a good majority. That is incredible. Big round of applause for everybody that's coming new and keep coming. Thanks, guys. So for those of you that are new, 1 Million Cups is a weekly educational program where we showcase two local startups and entrepreneurs. They have 6 minutes to present their business and their product, and then there is 20 minutes of Q&A. So you will see those presentations coming up here in just a minute. But afterwards, be sure to engage. This is a way that we can help our community grow and become better by sharing the knowledge and experience that we all have in the room. So, on to announcements. Big announcement actually coming from Nate this morning. We've got a couple cities coming online. We'll let him talk about that.
Just let the cat out of the bag, man. Oh, good morning. My name's Nate Olson. I run the entire 1 Million Cups national program, and it's been amazing for me to work with community leaders like John and Melissa and Mike and George here in Kansas City, but this is happening all across the country, and we're on our way to finishing the year with 20 communities online. But we have our 5th and 6th cities launching today. Reno, Nevada, so we're moving westward, and Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So big round of applause to welcome them to the family. I think they are set to have 50 people each at their first one, so that's very exciting. When we started with humble beginnings with about a dozen people in this room, so it's been great to see that. And the reason why this is so exciting is we're building community in cities individually, but then we are building a larger community of communities built together. And so when you think about these companies and how they can grow, well, if they want to grow from Kansas City to St. Louis, we have 1 Million Cups community like this in St. Louis, and so they'll be able to move throughout the program and go to St. Louis and present there, and then move regionally and go to Des Moines and Cedar Rapids and so on and so forth throughout the country. And so we're really hoping to see these companies grow, and we're really excited. So if you can, find 1 Million Cups RNO and 1 Million Cups CDR on the Twitter sphere, and send them a tweet, wish them luck today, and welcome them to the family. Now I'll get out of the way.
So we're really excited about that. We've been able to talk to the leaderships for those teams, and it's been great. All right, so this last week was South by Southwest, and we've gotten word Kansas City was kind of a buzz around town at that event, which is awesome. That is a huge reflection on the community, guys, so take pride in that. Also, Jeb Ori with Phone to Action won the South by Southwest Accelerator, so that's an amazing win for Kansas City and definitely deserves a round of applause. So that pretty much gets us rolling for this morning, other than just the general house rules. Be sure to clean up after yourself. We're really, really thankful that the Kauffman is hosting us, letting us use this space. So make sure that your coffee cups make it to the trash cans. And while presentations are going on, if you're in the back, I know it's kind of hard to hear, but be engaged and give your full attention. So without further ado, Mark Schlake is here to give us Menuse, which is a great company.
Oh, I'm going to use this. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, my name's Mark, and I'm here today to talk to you about restaurant mobile marketing. Restaurants, whether they're big or small or old or brand new, they need people to come through their doors. They need a consistent amount of traffic in order for them to succeed and thrive and move forward. And today, with the mobile devices that are in the hands of all the people that are walking through their door, they have the opportunity to place this device at the center of the relationship between the restaurant and the consumer. So let's look kind of at how things happen today. You go to a restaurant's website or you go to their menu when you're seated at the restaurant, and you're presented with a black and white menu. It looks like something that could have been delivered to you in all text like that from 100 years ago. Let's compare and contrast that then to what the Menuse app has and can provide as a better way to market to these restaurants. So, you know, one of the best devices or features in a mobile phone is the ability for an image, a picture. You know, people relate to food in an emotional fashion. I don't know if you're like me, but when I walk into a restaurant, I'm walking through, I'll look down on the tables to help me decide what it is that I'm going to eat or select this evening. And that's what is at the core of this. It allows the restaurant to deliver a beautiful image, an appealing image of what they do best, which is their food. So to give you a little background on me, for 25 years I delivered software to country clubs, to private clubs. We had membership systems, we had POS systems, we did accounting systems, but one of the key components was a member marketing tool, because clubs, very much like a restaurant, clubs have a set amount of members, they have a captured audience, and they have to market to them. Those country clubs will not survive either if they don't market to their members. And I'm taking the background and experience that I had in that industry and relaying it over here to the club industry. Or I'm sorry, to the restaurant industry. So again, let's kind of examine what goes on at a restaurant. If you go to their website, they're very much into kind of building a membership base as well. They are, you know, go there and it'll say, hey, sign up for our loyalty program or join our e-club, because they need a captured market or a captured amount of people as well, because they need this core amount of people to come through the door on a consistent basis. And they're doing that by trying to get information so that they can market to them. So let's again look at how we're doing it through the Menuse app. In the app, we're able to deliver great promotions, offers, coupons, if you will, to the people to drive traffic through the doors. Now, Groupon kind of proved that that will work. Groupon drove a lot of people through their doors, but it was at a very high cost to the restaurants, and it wasn't a sustainable thing for them. So with this device, we put the restaurateur in control of his marketing. He is the one that is able to do that without that high cost. Now, one of the key features, though, that we did keep intact is the ability to redeem that coupon on the mobile device, because now I can measure the effectiveness of that marketing, and I can get information, analytic information, as to who's responding to my marketing efforts. It's a very social app in the sense that we also take and allow these promotions that go out from the restaurant to the various patrons. Sometimes they'll be able to use that marketing promotion, and sometimes they just don't have the opportunity to. But they can go and push that on to their friends, to their family members that might be able to take up that opportunity. So it's very social in that respect. And then we also take it to another social level where within the app, a certain percentage of people very much like to check in. So you can check in on Facebook, you can check in on Foursquare. We also mobilize the website content for the restaurant. So many restaurants have websites, all of them have websites, but we've mobilized it so you can get the contact information and the hours of operation. And then we also utilize another feature within the phone where it tracks your geolocation. So it knows where you're at, it knows where the restaurant's at, and gives you a nice map on the screen to tell you how to get to that restaurant. Further, another feature that most people do on a restaurant website is they make a reservation. So we are not a reservation system, but we just bring and partner in with reservation systems so that they can make that reservation through the mobile device as well. So up to now, we've been kind of examining the relationship that the consumer has, their side of this app. But the restaurateur has skin in the game too. So what we have is a cloud-based content management system. It allows the restaurateur to easily input this information into the phone, to get the menus in there, to get these promotions, these images into the system. And as they put that information in, it automatically and consistently pushes it right over to the restaurant website and over to their Facebook page. So now all 3 of my digital platforms, if I'm a restaurateur, are updated immediately with those images, with that information. And I can do that with that one entry that I made into the content management system. Not just the menu information, but also these promotions, these offers are immediately transferred to all 3 of those platforms. And now that I have my menu laid out on all these platforms, I give the opportunity for people to place orders there. They can go on Facebook to place an order from their mobile device, from the website. I got 3 20-year-old kids. I don't know if they ever eat at home. You know, if they're not going to a restaurant, they're ordering out. This is a very mobile solution for that demographic. So to summarize a little bit, like we make the system from a consumer standpoint, given beautiful images associated with how to engage with their menu, have the opportunity for the restaurant to push out promotions to drive traffic back into the restaurant. It's a very social solution. You can make reservations, you can make to-go orders. But the real gold for the restaurateur is the user analytics that are accumulating into the system, so that every time somebody browses the menu, we book that to the database. The day of the week that they did it, the time of the day. If they order something online, we book that to the database. If they like an item within the app, that's booked to the database. That becomes gold to the restaurateur because now they have an opportunity to market back to them. So the system allows them to push offers out to their populace. Those people come back into the restaurant and redeem those offers. We analyze the effectiveness of our promotions, and then we repeat and rinse. You know, it drives more sales into the restaurant. So what is it I'm looking for today? What I'm looking for is how many of you all went to a restaurant or went, I don't know, to-go food in last week? Probably everybody in the room, or most everybody in the room, is engaging with restaurants in some form or fashion. So what I need you to do is get the word out to that restaurant community. You have favorite restaurants. Tell your restaurateur, hey, you should be on this Menuse app. If you go to a restaurant and you're presented with this, you know right away that they're not engaging you in the fashion that they could be engaging you. So I need you to tell the restaurant community about this. But also other people in this room are web developers, marketing agencies. I'm looking to make partnerships with people. I'm looking to say, hey, I can't do this by myself one at a time. I have to work with the Kansas City community. And that's what I'm looking for today. So thank you for your time, and ready for questions.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is the cost to the restaurateur for using your system?
You know, we're basing it on a subscription basis. So it's obviously free to the consumer, but it'll be on a subscription basis. And that helps the restaurateur know up front what his costs are, you know, and that's different from a transactional basis.
And that subscription, do you know it yet? Or?
It's going to be very modest. It'd probably be anywhere from, you know, it'd be under $100. I'm looking at
Per month or a year?
per month. Yeah. Yeah.
More of an observation than a question. I love using Uber, and one of my favorite features is I get out of the car and I just walk away. So you've got the POS system on the online to-go ordering. I personally just would observe that I hate the interaction at the end of a meal where I've got to, you know, deal with all the, take my credit card away. Sometimes I forget that. It'd be great if I could just be done with it on the app and just walk away like I'm walking away from Uber.
Yeah, and I've seen some of those applications besides the one you mentioned, and that's those partnership relationships I'd like to have so that we could take and complement what I've done and then extend it to those types of functions as well.
So content management systems are are pretty popular these days, and I've sold a few and implemented them for companies. And we seem to just be setting up our customers for failure because they don't realize that it doesn't update itself. That
Right.
it is a content management system, not a content creation system. So, so how are you going to address the issue of now they have a whole new set of responsibilities when they're already, hands full with running their business?
And you're right about that. Restaurateurs are busy people, and the real key to this system is I think we have a better way of doing things because this content management system allows it to go across 3 different platforms, the website and the Facebook page and the mobile device. So one entry point gets it there, but it does take work to get it there in the first place. But they're challenged with that today. Today it's like, oh, I got to change my website, I got to change my Facebook page. They're doing that in 2 different systems already. So I think this will flow it across for them. Now, when they do come on board, what we do is set them up with all their menu items the very first time, and then instruct them on how to make changes, because restaurants make changes to their menu items frequently. Some of them have daily specials, some of them have weekly specials, and since it is also cloud-based, they can do it from home when they're not at the restaurant. They're worn out, I'm at home, I can make that change from anywhere. They can actually make it directly from the phone, too.
I have a question.
How many restaurants do you have in your system currently?
I'm really in a pre-revenue situation, I guess I would call that. We have about a half dozen restaurants that are on there, more or less beta users at this point. Want to grow it beyond there. I've had great response from the people, but it is something that we put out and kind of have taken that feedback from those restaurants to make the application better. At first, it was all mobile-based, but it was the feedback from the restaurateur that says, oh gosh, if you could put that on my website and on my Facebook page, man, that would save me all kinds of time, kind of going back to the point over here. So that was something that we kind of stepped back and said, let's do that. And I think that's going to help grow it as well.
Tell me the story about how you got to. I understand now that it's on the store, correct?
It's in the Apple Store, obviously, but I have a beta version of the Android. We just didn't release it prior to this.
Sure.
It'll be going out before the end of the month.
Okay, so talk to me about the process of getting to this point. I think a lot of us are either thinking about apps that we want to build, or we've got ideas. What's it been like to build an application that has a pretty large feature set? And how did you get there? How did you fund it, and so on and so forth?
Yeah. Again, stepping back, I developed software solutions for private clubs for 25 plus years. Sold the company in 2010 and helped through a transition period, and then kind of got itchy a little bit and didn't want to get back into the desktop application. So I said, hey, what's in everybody's hands? I mentioned those 20-year-old kids that I have. This never leaves their hands. My wife sleeps with it next to her, and when you talk to a restaurant, their menu goes home with them and it sleeps next to them. But I had this food and beverage background associated with the club side of things, and I just decided that I'm going to develop an app and deliver. At first, I thought it would just be menu content, but it did develop over time to evolve into more of a social aspect system, the ordering system, and so on. How did I do that? Well, I had limited resources, but I did outsource the development, and I have worked with a team of people out of India that have been very suggestive in what they see also. I mean, they're in a marketplace out there as well where they have apps, and they say, hey, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. So it was a very collaborative effort on their part and my part, and the part of talking to our beta customers and developing it from there. It's taken about 6-8 months, to get to this point.
So I'm a big fan of local restaurants,
Mhm.
and I can imagine that this could be cost prohibitive for a lot of the smaller local restaurants. Do you have a tiered pricing system? I mean, Red Lobster certainly could afford to do more than $100 a month, like they do. This
Right.
sounds like something that they would love. But
Yeah.
we have a huge community of local small restaurants. Have you thought about
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, what she's asking is, do I have a pricing structure that allow it to support a restaurant that has a more limited budget, especially a local restaurant? You know, at first when I was putting this together, and this is kind of how things evolved, I thought we would be a market aggregator. I thought we would be, hey, I'll have a solution that is all these local restaurants listed, and then when I'm trying to decide where to eat, I'll go to this app to decide that. And over time, and again in working with restaurants, they kind of said, hey, we don't want to be in that aggregation. We just want our own mobile app. And that's kind of where we're at now. We have both solutions. Hey, come into the menus, and you'll download menus on there, and all the local restaurants will be there. But many of them want their own solution. So our pricing structure will probably be, if you want your own branded app, it'll be a little higher of a price. And the Menuse app, that lower cost one, will be at a much lower cost because I'm linked with all these other local restaurants. And if they're comfortable with that, and I'm very comfortable with it, but if they're comfortable with it, they'll pay less. If they want something more branded, they pay a little bit more.
How long the beta has been going on?
The question was, how long have the betas been going on? January is pretty much where we first put in those initial ones, and so not quite 3 months.
So when do they consider it a success? I mean, are they going to buy?
You know, I think I'm going back to them now with some additional features. The to-go ordering is brand new. The syncing over to the Facebook, which I think is going to be a huge thing for these restaurateurs, is now where I think we'll have moved from that beta test into, hey, let's take it to the marketplace.
On your website, it says you do have a free service where you list the restaurant, help them manage their restaurant, interactive menu. Are you still doing that so people can just get on there and get listed?
Yeah, that kind of goes back to this point here. I think the menus where I don't have a branded app, I might keep that as free. It makes it easier. Hey, I can deliver that menu content like that. I'll do that. And I might do that as free. It might be a small price, but it's currently we are calling it as a free service.
I'm going to take kind of the opposite stance of the lady over here asking a question. When you said that $100 a month price point, I was trying to figure out how you're going to operate your own business at such a low price point model, because for the amount of content management and everything that you're doing and that you're offering them and what you're taking off of the table for them, as far as a new marketing device, having the menu. So me, as somebody who hates paper and would use this regularly, I think that price point is pretty low for you guys. I understand coming into the market. Do you have salespeople on the ground right now doing this, or is it just you making calls?
It's just me at this point, and that's why I said, hey, this community, I'm looking to partner with people. So I am looking to expand that. But you're right, the cost structure, you know, even at $100 is modest. Now, the content management system is not very hard to get in there. I mean, there's only like 4 pieces of data they need: the name of the dish, the picture, a description, and what category it's in, and they can handle that pretty well. And we've also kind of automated it, so I have templates set up on spreadsheets of all of these items. So if you're a new restaurant, we don't key this in by hand, we just suck it in from the spreadsheet. So we can get it in there pretty efficiently. But I will take one step back, and I said, hey, it's subscription-based, and it is subscription-based. However, we do, on the to-go marketing side, we'll have a modest fee associated with a transaction. Because anytime a credit card transaction occurs, there's, you know, some fees. So we'll probably put that at some amount, and that transactional amount, along with the subscription, could grow this significantly. It is a very scalable solution, though. I mean, I have talked and had conversations, you know, with people in the audience, And by that, let me also say this in regards to, I know Nate gets up here every day and says, hey, after this, you should turn around and talk to people and interact with the people in this room. And I just want to give a shout out to Lawrence Andre, because that was something I did. I went to these meetings and I turned around, I introduced myself, and Lawrence helped me prepare my presentation and understand better what I am all about. So I do want to say that, and I would encourage you to do what Nate tells you to do every week. Yeah.
So I assume you did your due diligence on any kind of other like businesses. Did you find anything of doing something similar, whether it's local, global, national, et cetera?
Yeah, you know, I have found similar things. Somebody said, hey, boy, you've put a lot into the app. I haven't found anybody that aggregates as much as I have aggregated into one solution. Many of them are geared around the to-go ordering process, and most of them are not mobile. They're more web-based, but they'll eventually get mobile. The closest competitors I really have found do seem to be like in the larger population centers like a Chicago or a New York or an LA. The Midwest seems very open to me. So anything I've seen up to now seems to be pretty regionally based.
I was going to ask him right here, hi, if you consider Yelp a competitor. For me, I just go there and I look up restaurants around, or I'll look up the menu there, I look up the hours there. I don't ever go to a website,
Right.
and I usually just use my phone, and I didn't, you know, this seems more focused on the restaurants, but I was just curious to hear your thoughts about that.
Yelp would be a competitor. Yelp is, at its core, a restaurant review system, or a review system. And that's really what they're best at, and that's why you go there, to say, hey, I'm trying to decide where I want to eat, and I'll look at those reviews. This app is the restaurant's app. This is their opportunity to put their best foot forward. This is where they get to present their food in its most appealing fashion. So that's probably the biggest difference, is I'm looking to develop a stronger relationship of that restaurant with the customer directly than I think you would ever get with Yelp, because Yelp, like I said, is a market aggregator. It's not a customer relationship aggregator that I am.
What about integration with services like Yelp? Couldn't that spread you out to a wider market if you reached out to them and said, hey, we'd like to offer links or a partnership to your
Yeah, I'd love to be able to create an API and say, hey, I'll push that data out here to you, to Yelp or whomever. And that's what I meant by, I want to develop partnerships with you folks in this room. So if you're out there, Mr. Yelp, you know, one of the partnerships that I've kind of tried to explore a little bit, last week there was a company here, Local Ruckus. They had a very complimentary type product. And I've talked to them a little bit, but they keep asking me if I can dance. So.
Okay, so I have another question. I've talked to restaurants about something similar to this, and one of the concerns when you're inside the restaurant, you're talking about replacing the paper, and if you have people actually ordering or looking at menuing systems while you're inside the restaurant, and I don't know if that's what this is for. It seems to me it does work when you're talking about to-go orders, but the issue of having people using their devices while at the restaurant, some restaurants go as far as to say, don't turn on your device while you're here. I know that's kind of some of the extremes. But one of the concerns is if you start having transactions, if you start having people ordering and paying and doing all these things through an app, you end up removing the experience of interacting with the waiter, which for them, I've heard this from at least several other restaurateurs, that going to eat at a restaurant is not about the food industry, it's the entertainment business. So they're actually trying to entertain you through these waiters. Is this something that is meant to be in that space, or is it a tool?
You know, that's a good question, and it's come up a couple times. It isn't designed to be an ordering system at the table. Now, conversely, I've had other restaurants that say, hey, I want it to be an ordering system. But I would agree with you that I don't think that's there to be an ordering system. Really, I think it complements the printed menu. They're still going to have a printed menu. Not everybody's going to have a device with them, so they'll still have this printed menu. So what I tell them is, gosh, so many places I go, they'll have a wine list, and that wine list is very long. And this can provide a lot more information about wine than generally the average server knows about. Now, they try to train the servers, but it's hard to know everything about all those wines. And not just that, but craft beers are the same as wines nowadays. Hey, I'm looking for a beer that has this kind of flavor and this. So that's, you know, the real benefit of this system is the ability to deliver more information, better information, and great images to help sell those menu items.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much the time that we have, but do you have a call to action, a way for us to connect and help kind of put you in front of more of the restaurateurs that are here in Kansas City, maybe some of the local restaurants?
Yeah, my call to action would be, hey, all of you went to restaurants this last week. The next time you're in that restaurant, talk to the restaurateur. Hey, there's a better solution available. You should be talking to Menus about that. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Okay, so we have a couple of announcements, and I have to have out my phone to know what those are. While we're making announcements, if myEDmatch wants to go ahead and connect up the technology there, give me just 2 seconds to get things brought up. I know a couple things. The Bradfeld Fiber House, they're still accepting applications for, I think, entrepreneurs or startups that want to be in that space. They've got 2 weeks left in that application process. So make sure you go to this web address, which I won't read off. Just come up here and look at it. And make sure you get your application in if you're interested in being in that house. It's the one announcement that I knew I would make sure I have right. Hacking the Gigabit City on March 22nd through 24th at the between the Google Fiber space and Kaufman. It's a big event. I want you to basically go online at hackingthegigabitcity.eventbrite.com and sign up for that event. I know the team that wanted to give an announcement for that is still coming back from South by Southwest, so be sure to catch them if you can, or go on the website to find out more about that information. Jason and Sarah want to come up and give an announcement about hack of the sexes. A lot of hacking going on here. It used to be a bad term, right? It used to be that hacking was a bad thing. Now it's the new cool thing.
I'm Sarah Abear. This is Jason Karakin and Erica Burkham, and we are putting on an event here in Kaufman Labs called Hack of the Sexes. It is actually boys versus girls at a new level. We are trying to promote women in tech, and we are doing what we like to call the battle to build a better city with a civic nod. We have our first sponsor, which is the City of Kansas City, Missouri, which we're so excited about. They are coming on board and sponsoring our hackathon. We are wanting people to come, get involved, and help us build applications that are going to help improve our city. We're looking for designers, developers, people with what we like to call hustlers, which are people that we think have ideas that can help improve the community we live in. Kansas City, Missouri has this huge open data initiative, and Millie is going to come on board and help us with access to that data. I know a lot of times when people are building civic applications, one of the things we are concerned about is, well, do we have access to the data that will help us make these applications a reality? And we now have access to that data, so we're super excited about it. Go online, hackofthesexes.org, sign up, get involved. We actually have a happy hour tonight at Snow and Company. If anyone wants to come on board, we have a marketing committee that we're helping market the event. The event is April 26th and 27th here at the Kaufman Labs.
Yeah, and she'll write up the Twitter information for that event. I'm really excited about that, and I know they've gotten a lot of press, and it can be a really fun event. Last announcement, Big Kansas City. Reagan, do you want to?
Good morning, I'm Reagan, and I'm with Silicon Prairie News, and this is your friendly reminder of Big Kansas City coming up March 26th, 27th, 28th. There'll be an opening party on the 26th, and then the actual sort of single track sessions, the 27th and 28th. For those of you who aren't familiar, I was trying to think of what I wanted to share this morning that would help to encourage you all to go to the site to get your ticket if you might still be on the fence about going to Big Kansas City. And as I was doing that, I was also unpacking from South by. And as Nate mentioned this morning, there was a huge presence of not only Kansas City, but the whole sort of Silicon Prairie community there. And it was significant of all the parties and events that you can go to. I think some of the ones that were the sort of the best conversation and interactions and sort of just idea flow is happening were those events that were hosted by sort of Square Offs, one of our local folks, or even the Startup Missouri party that was there. So those were great experiences. And then at all the sessions, I was telling some of the folks earlier, of all the sessions that we attended, that I attended, a number of them mentioned Kansas City somehow. So that's pretty incredible to be at South by and to hear your own city being mentioned by national speakers. So there's a lot of things going on. And so the point of sharing that is we have a great community. It's growing organically and such at a sort of grassroots nature. And so I hope that we can continue that conversation at Big Kansas City and have sort of another experience like that, but really to showcase to this sort of national world, but regional world, what Kansas City is all about, what the heart and soul of sort of the startup community is. So again, 26th through 26th, 27th, and then 28th.
Right, of this month. So because the 27th lands on a Wednesday, normally we would be having 1 million cups here, and we actually are going to continue to do that. So if you're not going to Big Kansas City, no problem, we'll still be having this event here. But we want to let you know that you're not going to miss out on the presentations that are happening that morning if you are going to Big Kansas City. We're going. Several of the presenters and community leaders are going to be there. And so what we want to do and what we're going to end up doing is having the presenters that present at 1 Million Cups that morning are also going to be presenting at Big Kansas City. So if you want to see them up on a bigger stage with a little bit more lights and, I don't know, stuff like that, come to Big Kansas City. We really want to support what they're doing. And basically we'll be down at the hangar having fun down there as well. So. Okay, up next, unless there's any other announcements, great. Up next we have myEDmatch. So I got to meet with Monroe, gosh, it's been a few months back now, and he was telling me about this idea. And I think I'll let him throw out some more of the exciting stats, but the thing that blew me away was the fact that a huge portion of the country, when you're dealing with education, is that schools are finding teachers and teachers are finding jobs through, of all places, Craigslist. And that's the solution that we're using. So I think they found a much better way to find a solution to connect schools and teachers. So go ahead and give them a round of applause as they come on up.
Oh, you're good. Awesome. Can you guys hear us? Yes. Okay, great. I'll stand over here. Okay. My name's Alicia Harold.
And I'm Monroe Richardson, and we're the co-founders of myEDmatch. It's a job matching site for educators. In our former lives, we were both affiliated with the Kauffman Foundation. I was the vice president for education here at the foundation.
And I was the executive director with Teach for America, a grantee of the foundation. In our respective roles, we both spent a lot of time focusing on a big problem: human capital in K-12 education.
There are 3.7 million K-12 teachers in public and private schools in the United States. Nearly half of these teachers quit within the first 5 years of teaching. The problem is even worse in urban schools. Next slide. As a result, today nearly half of the teachers in the United States have less than 10 years of experience in the classroom. In fact, the average level of teaching experience has actually declined over the last 30 years. This spring, nearly 1 in 4 new teachers will make the decision not to return to their classroom in the fall. About half of these teachers will leave to go to another classroom, and another half will quit teaching altogether. This revolving door has a big price tag. One study estimates the cost of teacher turnover nationally at $7.3 billion every year. Now, whether a teacher decides to stay in teaching or not, once they decide to leave the classroom, the school has to find a replacement. That means they have to spend their limited dollars, time, and energy finding another teacher to be in that classroom for the fall. One charter school network that we talked with last year told us that their principals every spring spend up to 70% of their time recruiting new teachers for their school. The number one reason that teachers quit: dissatisfaction with their working environment.
We sum up this problem in one word: fit. No, not that kind of fit, but actually fit in education refers to the many different models of school that can have different purposes and approaches when it comes to education. And we believe that the problem is that there isn't an easy way for good fit teachers and schools that actually share similar beliefs to find each other. Now, one way to solve a difficult problem is to use a solution that works in one domain and apply it to another. So last year, I was wrapping up my MBA at WashU, and we were studying a lot about innovation. So a common theme that kept coming up over and over is this idea that entrepreneurship starts with a problem. Well, if all it took was a problem, I had plenty of them. And I had them in one particular area: human capital, in both my professional life and in my personal life. So in my job as the executive director with Teach for America Kansas City, I was obsessed with talent. How in the world can I get out the word of all the great things happening in our schools in Kansas City? How do I attract, recruit, and keep people in our city in great schools? So that same focus and talent actually spilled over into my personal life as well. So in a last-ditch effort to make my mother happy and to not leave Kansas City, I was also in search of human capital in a different way. And so you guessed it, I signed up for online dating. I'm so happy you all find such great humor in something that was a big problem in my life and continues to be, but we won't ask for that later at the end of the presentation. Wow, this is a big room full of strangers that now know a lot. So one late night, I was putting off an assignment and didn't want to look at my inbox, so to procrastinate yet further, I logged into said dating website. And who would have thought that while surfing for men, I would find an answer to a different problem in my life? Now, if you actually think about it, the idea behind online dating is pretty genius. It helps connect people that otherwise never would have met, takes out the guesswork, gives you a few less awkward dates, and doesn't force you to ask all those embarrassing questions that make you seem like that overbearing girl that wants to know too much too quickly. And it actually makes dating simple for really busy people. So I thought to myself, if online dating can bring together great fit couples, why can't it help bring together great fit schools and educators? Thus, the idea of myEDmatch was born.
myEDmatch is a job matching site for educators. It's like online dating for education jobs. Our site has 3 familiar components. Think LinkedIn meets Career Builder meets eHarmony. Teacher and school profiles provide information that the other side really wants to know. Teacher profiles are like a digital resume and virtual portfolio all wrapped up in one. Teacher portfolios include sample teaching videos, documents to demonstrate teachers' effectiveness in the classroom, and photos to show what it's really like to be in your class. School profiles tell teachers what it's really like to teach in their school. It provides information about the school's mission, its culture, what the expectations are for teachers that are teaching in the school. It also includes a video from the principal to prospective teachers to talk about what they're looking for as they build their teams. Schools can post jobs on the site that are tied back to their school profile. And teachers and schools can search for each other using a variety of filters. Teachers can look for schools by geography, school model, school type, stage in their development. Schools can look for teachers by certification, by their content expertise, and the types of professional training they've received.
Now all of that's pretty awesome, but what really differentiates us is the concept of matching. Our core beliefs profile asks teachers and schools to share their fundamental beliefs in education. We take the answers that they give us and match them and suggest matches based on a similarity of those beliefs. We rank how closely they fit and give them a 1 to 5 apple match score. Our business model is simple. myEDmatch is free for teachers, and schools pay an annual subscription fee. That allows them to post jobs, communicate, and search for teachers. 6 months ago, for the first time in the middle of the night, I emailed Monroe and let him know about this idea that I had, a Match.com for teachers and schools. We've come a long way in a short period of time. We launched 2 weeks ago on February 25th. We have nearly 2,000 teachers on the site with 100 paying school customers in 16 states. We also have national partnerships with the USC Rossier School of Education and with Teach for America. We also have a great local team here in Kansas City. With Jen and Ryan are here, 2 of our board members, Dan Fromm and Tim Barton, and many of the other people. From Nancy, I saw Anita, and I think Lance is here somewhere as well, working with Black Ops Development to turn out this product really quickly. So we feel very fortunate for the team we have. We also know that we need your help to take it to the next level. So we're asking everyone here in person and those people on the live stream to do 3 things. First, go follow us on Twitter at myEDmatch. Next, go like our Facebook page. And third, please, please, please tell the teachers you know to find us online, follow us on Twitter, or show them our Facebook page, and let them know about this awesome new job matching site that you just learned about, myEDmatch. myEDmatch, it's like online dating for education jobs. Do you want to start with a question and I'll pull up the demo?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, any questions?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kristen Farrell and I'm with the Language Project. So we are actually specifically having major problems finding teachers for our program. We're specifically looking for like Hispanic speaking teachers. So my question is, for a small business like mine, how can I use your site if I'm not, because our company is working now, we're a national program, but I just literally put an ad on Craigslist to find teachers. I really did.
Yeah. It's like,
so when you said that, I felt very convicted. And so I really want to use this site, but I can't because I'm not a school. I'm just me. We're small. And so do you have any plans to kind of branch out to something smaller? Or are you going to pretty much focus on the big schools and how could I get involved?
Yep, so you can still get involved as a program. We're actually working on building out district level and company organizations profiles. So one example of a partnership we're looking into is with Building Excellent Schools. But we actually based our subscription model. It was really important to me, especially as I have friends starting up schools all across the country, that this was affordable to the smallest school. So we worked with Building Excellent Schools, which starts with 50 students. So that is literally like a single grade level, 2 classes, the smallest school, to make sure that this could fit within their recruitment budget. Because right now people are still paying, whether it's on CareerBuilder or LinkedIn, where teachers just actually aren't, or Craigslist and different jobs. So it was important to us that it was affordable at that single school subscription level. But we are building out the platform to have additional profiles aside from just a traditional school model.
Is that one the bronze that's on your website?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think one of the additional features is that if you're looking in particular, because we're a job matching site, we can't actually require that you put in your race and ethnicity, but you could search not only by language, but then level of proficiency. So are you looking for someone that's conversational, bilingual, or I can actually instruct full-time in Spanish?
How are you finding your teachers in schools? How are you getting your word out?
Do you want to start with that one?
Okay, yeah, so the question is, how do you find teachers in schools? So teachers, we've like experimented with a lot of different things, and we've tried Facebook ads, Google ads. We've obviously developed partnerships with Teach for America nationally and USC Racine School of Education and Top 15 School of Ed. I've personally pushed out to 400 schools of education across the country, gotten a lot of feedback. Some are excited and some are kind of in a wait-and-see posture. When you think about our teachers, part of what we didn't get into was our target market really are teachers in their 20s and early 30s. It's teachers that are, less than 10 years of experience. They're the ones that are moving. And so the question is, how do you reach those millennials that are looking? They're on Facebook, and so that's one way that we reach out to them. Word of mouth is another way we reach out to them. We've been really undercovers for the last 6 months in terms of just keeping our head down, working. So we really haven't done any press or PR yet because once we did that, we wanted to actually have teachers and schools on the site and kind of talk about what we've done and not what we're going to do. So, but what we've seen so far, we had just a teeny little bit of write-ups. When you look at the Google Analytics on it, it's really good in terms of driving people that are actually looking for our site and actually signing up. So we're looking forward to that. And then we've got some exciting partnerships we're not ready to talk about yet, but really exciting that I think also is going to really help drive a lot of teacher adoption. On the school side, I'll let Alicia talk about that.
So I think to start out, I went to some early adopters. When we think about the technology life cycle adoption, we knew that charter schools were likely to be our earliest adopters just because of the budget and hiring and decision autonomy that they actually have, that they can turn that decision around quickly. And I think a pretty unfair advantage that I have and bring with me is my Teach for America network. So having been an executive director, I know 700 school leaders across the country, and some of them are running some pretty large systems and states, so I was able to go tap into that. And then people have just found us. Like, we are hitting a true pain point. If you as a principal are spending 70% of your time on Craigslist or wherever it might be, that's 70% of the time you actually aren't helping your teachers get better in this and like working with kids. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, there's someone at a microphone.
Oh, yeah, so congratulations. I think it's really exciting. You're addressing a huge gap in the matching market, but matching only works if the information is of high quality. So obviously on online dating websites, there's a little bit of problems in how you represent yourself. And so even though it's a great mechanism, it's only as good as the information on there. What sort of pains have you taken to make sure that the information is high enough quality that it actually produces a good match?
Yep. So we aren't saying anything about a teacher's effectiveness or their predictability of being successful in your school. You still have to go through and interview them. What we're saying is that when we're lining candidates up outside of your door, you can start knowing that they share some fundamental beliefs with you in education. As a teacher, and we express this with them and like they get it, the number one word they're using when completing this beliefs assessment is they feel empowered that it's okay to actually think about what that dream job and dream school would actually be. But there's no incentive to actually lie and say what you think a school would want to hear, because you're going to get matched with a school that actually believes that, and then that is going to increase your own dissatisfaction over time and make you one of those 46% of teachers that leave before you hit 5 years of experience.
So,
oh, sorry.
Like the commercials that eHarmony or Match has, and people laugh at, oh, we met and whatever, but it's legit. Yeah, they're really happy. The other disconnect that I heard, like when I was growing up, I had really good teachers that have been teaching for 25 years. I think a lot of people here did is then can you take that profile, or have you done that already with taking it back at the high school level and the college level and showing that profile of here's somebody that graduated from this high school. And I mean, I had people that their parents said, you can do anything you want as long as you don't teach, because you're going to be frustrated and you're not going to get paid enough. Is, the young minds in high school that think they can do anything. To me, that's the other part that they need to hear, that, when they get out, there's this great option.
I mean, if you ask me, our ultimate mission, one, is to cut down on teacher turnover, because it's a huge cost in time and money for schools. But I want to elevate the profession of education. It shocks me that you can go find someone that's going to teach my kids the same place where you're looking for a used couch. And like, if there are all of these other things that are available, this should be a way for me as a teacher to tell you what I value most, to help welcome you inside of my classroom, to see what I look like, what my passions are as an educator. Like, this is as much about a teacher wanting a school as it is a school wanting a teacher. And I think a short anecdote on this that just shocked me. So we started a blog, and we are writing to teachers to help prepare them for the interview process. And we said, here are 5 questions you should really ask a school before deciding if you're going to say yes. And the comment that we got on it was, the only question you should ask if you're a teacher is, when can I start? You're just lucky to get a job. And I truly believe it's more about a job, and it's finding the job that you love, because teachers, surprisingly, are not in it for the paycheck.
Can we get a sneak peek?
Yeah. Do you want to take one while I set this up? Okay.
I'll be happy to take a question while she's setting up. Yes?
You know, LinkedIn, one of the greatest features, I think, is where it shows you, your first, second, or third level connection with someone. Are teachers listed by school? When a school puts their profile up, do they list their teachers? And then can I see, as a prospective teacher at that school, if I'm connected in any way to those people?
Right. So right now we don't have that. So what myEDmatch is not, we're not purporting to be at this time, is any sort of social network, right? What we're simply trying to do is solve one problem, which is to help good fit teachers in schools find each other. So right now, teachers can't see other teachers, schools can't see other schools. And part of the problem is that sometimes when teachers are looking for a job, they don't want anyone to know yet that they're out in the job market, right? And so we tried to solve that problem by giving teachers full control of their privacy. So if you're a teacher and you sign up and you're in stealth mode, you can research jobs, you can get matched, you can see how closely you match with a school, but school can't discover you until you go active. And the same is true on the school side. Right now, if you're a school, all you can see are all the teachers that are on the system. You can't see other schools. We want to learn from our customers. We want to hear what it is that they want in terms of how it is we can help them solve this problem of finding a good fit job or finding good fit teachers. And we're really focused on this problem. We want to try to solve this, have a great product that that does that. We started with what we call an MVP, minimum viable product. Trying to test a couple of hypotheses or growth and value hypothesis. And as we build, measure and learn, we'll figure out what that product market fit looks like, and how do we continue to grow and scale. Alicia.
So a real quick demo. So I've logged in. So I've already completed my beliefs assessment, which I'll hold for later. But if I take you, so this is actually my profile with information of when I was teaching out in LA. So you can see not only my language, my background, and education, but I think once you get down here, I speak to my effectiveness in the classroom out in LA, other professional trainings I've received, and then different school activities. Again, this isn't stuff that's typically on my resume or cover letter for you to know that I worked on infusing culturally relevant information in my classroom, started a kickball league, all of the real important stuff here. But then I think what I love most is being able to go here, because again, industry standard is I'm sending you a resume and a cover letter. I can't actually convey to you what I love about teaching through that, but I can if you give me an opportunity to go show you videos of my kids learning and how I incorporate song into it. I can show you my poetry unit, my college-bound unit, I can show you pictures of me and my kids. So you can get a sense of my classroom and what I actually look like in there. And again, I think all of this is just really important. But let's say I'm logged in as a teacher. Again, I'm in stealth mode, so no schools can contact me because I'm not quite ready to tell them that I'm out in the market. But if I'm looking for jobs, I've already gone through and I've favorited. I've heard a lot about this school, DC Prep. They're an exceptional school, and I'm actually a 3 match with them. So I can go in and find that information. But one other thing I'd love to show is, let's say I'm looking for a charter school. I want to work in a city. I want to stay in the Midwest. And something else that I can't actually find anywhere else is I'm at this point in my career where I want to work in a startup school. I think that's going to give me some additional challenges and be something that's exciting for my next career. So when I apply that filter, I can see that there's Chicago Collegiate. So this is a startup school out in Chicago. It's 4th grade. I actually think that's great. That's right what I love. So I can add this job to my watch list. So then I'm going to get notifications anytime that school posts new things or something, a status changes about that job. But again, I want to add Chicago Collegiate there because I think that that's just a school and a job that I'm going to continue to follow. And then when a school logs in, they would be able to say, wow, there are X number of new teachers that have favorited my school and have shown interest. So the principal of this school could go into that 4th grade job and say, show me all the teachers that have shown interest in this. They'll see my match score. Once I go into active, they can go check out my full virtual portfolio and send me an in-house communication that says, hey, Alicia, you're just the type of teacher we've been looking for. Here's how we start our application process. Let's get a 30-minute phone interview going. Yep.
Hi, so I'm pretty confident about your guys' business model, so I think I'll just say that my name is Cameron Bronner Rogers. I'll give myself a shameless plug. I'm actually a 3rd-year student over at the Block School of Management at UMKC for entrepreneurship, and I just want to say that I'm kind of empowered, I like that word, empowered by your use of 2 terms, the unfair advantage and the MVP, minimum viable product, because one of my colleagues, or my co-eds, you could say, he actually said that he was very sort of dispassionate this semester because he's getting tired of school. He's ready to go. And what I've learned is that you two are obviously educated, so knowing these terms is something we're learning. And I just want to say thanks for empowering us students.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you two can thumb roll for it.
So some founders that I met that are building a sort of employment match app as well, poured over psychology journal articles, took the research and tried to turn it into algorithms so it's actually usable. eHarmony claimed the 21 aspects of compatibility or whatever. So your belief survey, is that based on anything?
Yeah, and I'll let you build on that.
Yeah, so when I was here at Kauffman, I had the great fortune to work on a number of projects, and the last big project I worked on was helping start our charter school here. And actually, 4 years ago, some of my colleagues, Aaron North and I, we went out to Boston and New York, and we visited about a dozen high-performing urban charter schools. And we asked them all the same questions. And one of the questions we asked was, where do you get your teachers? And surprisingly, one of the most common answers we heard, Aaron, was Craigslist. And so we knew people were important going in. We just didn't know how hard it was going to be to recruit people here to Kansas City. So my team here at Kauffman, we spent 18 months trying to find solutions. And so I was primed when Alicia invited me to coffee 6 months ago, and she had this Match.com for teachers and schools idea. And because of all the research we did, and between our backgrounds, we knew what the questions were and what the problems were. So we look at 7 core dimensions of school, right? Mission, instruction, planning, professional development, staff culture, student culture, and school environment. And what we do is we use an approach which is scarcity-based. So we ask teachers in schools a framing question. What does it take for you to be successful in the classroom? And so for teachers, answer for yourself. For schools, answer for the teachers in your school. And what we ask you to do is to take those 100 points, first spread them across those 7 areas in terms of kind of weight of importance. And then within those 7 areas, we've got a variety of belief statements. What we ask you to do is redistribute those points across those belief statements. And what they do is they reflect your views about mission, instruction, planning. So let me use mission as an example. Some schools believe that the purpose of school is to get kids to and through college, period, unapologetically. There are other schools that believe, however, that the purpose of school is to focus on the whole child. It includes involving the family, might include social services. There are other schools that believe that it's important to engage with the community or to prepare students for the workforce. And so depending on what kind of school you're in, they have different missions. But the problem is there's no easy way for teachers and schools to be able to say, I believe in this with regards to mission, right? Or instruction or planning. When Alicia was teaching 4th grade in South Central LA, the school she was in had scripted curriculum. She was told what to teach every day, when to stop, little bubble, to answer a question, right? And for some teachers, that will work great. Just tell me what to teach and I will teach it. There are other teachers, though, like Alicia, that hated it, right? There are some schools that expect teachers to create their own assessments. There are other schools, they use canned assessments. Right now, until now, there was no easy way for teachers and schools to say, this is what I believe about instruction, this is what I believe about planning. And what we learned was when Aaron and I first went out 4 years ago and visited schools, one of the terms we heard over and over was mission and culture fit. And one of our advisors, who's got a great video on Kaufman, sketchbook video, Kay Merseth at Harvard Graduate School, she wrote a great book called Inside Urban Charter Schools. And I just emailed with Kay last night. When you look at what we did here, this is based on Kay's research. She talked about mission, instruction, planning. And so we looked at what Kay wrote. We looked at what other successful charter schools and leaders have written and done and built our algorithm around it.
And so bringing it up even one level higher, other than the research coming out of Harvard, some of the most successful competency frameworks around education all cover these same things, whether it's the teaching as leadership model and rubric or the KIP model, all of them have similar components of these. It's not like we reinvented everything. Yes?
So I can see how this is of value to the teacher side, and on the school side, I can see how it's of value to the top half of the market, because that's where people want to go and they've got these things figured out. Does this help the bottom half of the market for schools, or does it actually hurt them?
Yeah, so when I started this, my idea was like, every teacher can be great in some environment. I mean, there are awesome schools here in Kansas City that, like, I told Monroe over breakfast, I'm like, I wouldn't work there, I just wouldn't be a good fit. So our job is to help you find fit so that you can really thrive. I do think that our earliest adopters are some of the more high-performing schools, but just yesterday we signed up a school in rural Missouri. And like, if you can imagine, how else would any teacher in the world find out about this teeny tiny school an hour outside of St. Louis that's serving, 98% free and reduced lunch and a high English language learner population? So it's going to help those schools actually be found by teachers.
Hey, real quick, congratulations on your quick startup. That's awesome.
Thanks.
And your website looks really good.
I did it all myself.
Did you?
I couldn't touch it, but I do really appreciate Black Ops Development. Huge shout out to them.
Could you teach us real fast, since you're our teacher?
Yeah, long division.
No, I don't like that. What has been the most difficult aspect of creating not a social networking site, but a networking site? What's been the biggest hurdle to overcome? Because a lot of us use those things or are building those things.
And this is going to be the last question. I'm sorry, we're over time.
That's okay. I will start because I've heard it more times in the past 2 months than I ever have in my life, like the chicken or the egg. Schools are going to come if we have teachers. Teachers are going to come if we have the school. Well, dang it, I want them both in like mass numbers yesterday on the site. So it's like, how do you get them?
Craigslist.
Yeah. That would be a really great oxymoron and all this. I don't know what you would add to that. That's pretty good.
All right, huge round of applause. So exciting. All right, that's it for today. See you guys next week. Make sure you sign up for Big Kansas City. Thanks.